Children, in the last class we were seeing regarding the respiration system in the organisms, right? So if you just recall what all we have discussed in the last class, so we told that that substance, that means the molecule, that's pyruvic acid. What is the fate of the pyruvic acid? Depends upon the presence or absence of oxygen. Is it clear? In today's class, we'll try to deal little bit about the respiration occurring in the living organisms. Where does it occur, right? Where does it occur in different parts of the body parts? Right? That's what we'll discuss. If you remember, in the case of, let us begin in the case of plants, right? In the case of plants, so this is the continuation of the last session what we had, respiration system. So today's topic will deal about the respiration process, in organisms, the presence of parts, the parts involved in the respiration process, right? Now first let us talk about the plants. Children, in the plants you know that the organ, right? Always you have to remember the organ where the photosynthesis occurs, that is the leaf. Okay. So the leaf, on both the surfaces of the leaf, it has covered by a layer of cells that's called epidermis. Right. In the epidermis of these layers, we'll find now the epidermis is like this. We have the epidermis, right? In epidermis, we have some bean-shaped structures like this. That's it. Bean-shaped structures present in the epidermis. Okay, they will be scattered on both the surfaces of the leaves. You can say there are many number of these pores, minute pores that we see on the leaves, on both the surfaces of the leaves. And this is what is called as the stomata. This is what is called as stomata. Okay, so we say the stomata. Now, how this stomata is actually, if you just see in the clear picture of this, the stomata, it will be this. Let me enlarge here. It will be appearing like this. Okay, there's like bean-like shape and almost like the structure of a kidney, right? Now, this is what is how they have. And we have a pore-like structure here, right? That is the pores. You can see that. And we have lot of cells are present on the sides, right? The cells are present like this. And this whole part is what is called as stomata, we say. What is the kidney-shaped structures? They are called as God cells. Yes, God cells. And we say this as pore, stomatal pore. And in these guard cells, we'll try to find a number of structures. Okay, we find a number of structures are present. And they are said in the chloroplast, right? Even the chloroplast is also seen here. Okay. Now, coming to our topic here. Here, this is the pores through which the gases will enter. So, oxygen is entering here. And we have the exit of carbon dioxide. For children. Now, at the same time, simultaneously, even there is simultaneously, the carbon dioxide is also taken in and oxygen is also released. Okay. So, what is the processes? The carbon dioxide, it's released due to the respiration, but the carbon dioxide is again utilized, that's due to photosynthesis. Okay, this process usually occurs in the daytime. Fine. But during the night time, what happened? You know that for photosynthesis, light is very essential. So night times there is complete darkness, or light is not there. The light should also be a very essential factor, isn't it, for the preparation of the food. So when there is no light, then what happens? Naturally, the carbon dioxide emission will be more in the atmosphere during that time. Is it clear? Because the carbon dioxide is not utilized. Carbon dioxide is maximum utilized only during the daytime. So these spore-like structures, that is what is the stomata in which the gases are entering. Right. So this is the one of the apparatus which plays very important role in the plants. Now let us compare with other living organisms. The living organisms like fishes. In the case of fish, what happened? The fish, you have you can see that the oxygen is entering here, the gases are entering here, okay, air is entering here, air is entering here, and when the air is entering through its mouth, so there we can see there's a presence of gills. We have gills are present. Okay, there's a presence of gills are present. The gills are very prominent structure which are seen here. You can see the gills are present here. Now, so these gills is where the air enters, and we have a prominent structure called as gills. Here, where these two molecules are getting exchanged. That is in the case of fishes. Is it clear, children? Next, let us take another examples. That is the case of the frog. Let us take in the case of a frog. Frog, you know very well, you have learned from in the 8th standard. What is the life cycle of the frog? That process is called as metamorphosis. You know very well, isn't it? So what is the beginning? The eggs are laid outside. From the eggs, we get the first larval stage, that's called the tadpole stage. Do you remember that fish-like form? And slowly they'll enter and transform into the frog. This is what changes occurs. Now what about the tadpole? That is in the aquatic system, isn't it? That's like a fish-like behavior it has. In the case of tadpole, so here we have to consider two stages here. One is the tadpole stage. That is a larval form of the frog. And next is the adult form. In the tadpole form, the respiration occurs by the presence of same gills. We have the gill-like structures in the tadpole which is responsible for the respiration. Slowly when they are undergoing the changes, transformation occurs. So here in these cases, there is involvement of lungs. Not only lungs, my dear, you will also know that the skin is also involved. Okay, even the buccal cavity, we say buccal cavity is also involved. So there is a different regions where the respiration occurs, but most prominently it is the lungs, right, in the case of frogs. Now, let us now discuss in the human body, that is in our body. What is that organ? That is the lungs, isn't it? Now, if you see the human body here, we take the air inside, isn't it? That's by breathing process, that's not respiration. The air is entering. Where it's entering? Through the nostril. It's entering through the nostril and passing through the nasal passage. When it passes through the nasal passage, now you can see that here, okay, now you see that the air is entering through this. This is what the nasal passage is there, right? From the nasal passages, this passes here, and there is one structure called as larynx. And larynx is just in front of the pharynx. Okay, I said the pharynx is the one which is used in your digestive part, plays in your alimentary canal, right? That's one of the part which is responsible for digestion. Now, in the case of respiration, it is the larynx which is present in front of the pharynx. Now, this larynx, it passes here, and from the larynx, it enters into a cartilaginous structures here. What you can see here, okay, that is called as trachea. Okay. Now, from here, if you are seeing here, this is what I told you, children. You can say that this is the larynx here, and from the larynx, it is passing into the long pipe-like structures. Is made of cartilaginous plates-like structures. This is called as trachea. Just if you remember, in the case of digestive system, digestive process, what is that? Or again, long structure, this tube-like structure. What is it called as? Esophagus, right? That is in the case of digestion. Okay, that's a part in digestion. But in the case of here, respiration, we have a long tube-like structure that is called a trachea. This is called as windpipe, and this passes here and they just bisects into two parts, into left and as well as right. This is called as bronchi. So left bronchi and right bronchi. This further bisects into small tube-like structures. You see a lot of further it is getting bisected. It is getting further bisected. Each bronchi is further divided or subdivided into a long tube-like structures, we can see. This is called as bronchioles. So we have on the right side as well as on the left side also. So more number of tube-like structures are they called as bronchioles. These bronchioles finally end up in a sac-like structures. That is called as alveoli. Alveoli, that's air-like structures which are present where this further goes and ends up in a small air-like structures. That air-like structures is called as alveoli, and that alveoli is connected with the blood vessels. Okay, children. Now, this alveoli is a place which is responsible for your gaseous exchange. Okay, children. So, if you see that structure here in the case of human body, it passes from the nasal passage. I told you it enters into the larynx. From the larynx, it passes through the windpipe. Windpipe is called as trachea. From there, it just bisects into the left side and the right side. That's called a bronchi. Bronchi is further subdivided into small, very you can say small, very minute thread-like structures. We can see here tube-like structures. You can say thread-like or tube-like structures. Or further, it is present. This is called as bronchioles, and bronchioles are ending up at a air sac-like structure. That's called alveoli. And alveoli is connected with the blood vessels, and alveoli is the region where the gases exchange are occurring. What is that main prominent gases? That is oxygen as well as carbon dioxide. Is it clear, children? Fine. Okay. So we are talking about the human body. In the case of humans, in the case of human beings, as we have seen in the figure, so it is going from the nasal passage. Okay, nasal passage. The directions you should know. From the nasal passage, it's passing into the larynx, right? Larynx. And from the larynx, it's passing into the trachea. It's a cartilage, this called as windpipe, I can tell you. And from this, it enters into the bronchi. Bronchi. Further, it bisects into bronchioles. Bisects into bronchioles. Bronchioles finally ends up into alveoli. Alveoli. This is the change. Are you able to get the point here? So finally it is exchange of gases are occurring in the alveoli. Here where these two molecules, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen, are getting exchanged here. That is the alveoli. Is it clear? Now, in all these cases, if you see that they are all multicellular living organisms. Getting the point here? They are all multicellular living organisms. The plants, again, these molecules, that is called by means of diffusion. Diffusion is one of the processes by which the gases are entering into the cells. Okay, the physical process, physico-chemical process, that's what is involved there. The transportation of the gases. That process is by means of diffusion. Water, do you remember? That's by means of osmosis. Okay, so diffusion is a process where these gases are entering. Now let's imagine the human body, how huge our structure is. Okay, so we are very complex living organisms, isn't it? And you know very well that in the alveolar region, the gases are getting exchanged. And oxygen is the most important vital molecule for the existence of our human body, right? For our living also, it is the most important gas. Now, how this gas passes to different body parts? It is not possible with diffusion. And very interestingly, you should know that if only we had the diffusion alone, for reaching the toe region of your body, it will take 3 years, my dear. 3 years it will take for the oxygen to reach the toe region if we have the process of diffusion alone. So there is some other molecule that's gifted in our body. That is nothing but that pigment is called as hemoglobin. Is it clear, children? So all the processes are diffusion, fine. But diffusion alone cannot play an important role in the complex living organisms. There should be a pigment. So in our body, there is that pigment. That pigment is what plays a very important role. Is called as the hemoglobin. And where this hemoglobin is present, that is present in your RBCs. That is red blood corpuscles. In red blood corpuscles, this hemoglobin is present. And this hemoglobin is what is responsible for these gases. So this is what plays a very important role for the transport of oxygen to different parts of the body. If you don't, just imagine, the hemoglobin is not present in the human body. It's not imaginable. It's impossible for us to exist. I told you that it takes almost 3 years for that molecule of oxygen to reach the toe region. So just imagine the cells all will perish. So this is a very important, very more crucial molecule, that is the hemoglobin, that is responsible for carrying the oxygen. At the same time, bringing back the carbon dioxide also. Is it clear, children? This is about the mechanism of the respiration occurring in different types of living organisms. That is now just recap. In the case of plants, as you see that it is the stomata plays a very important role. There we have the stomatal pore, and there where both the gases are involved, right? They are getting gets transported through this stomatal pore. That's namely carbon dioxide and oxygen. Oxygen is what's taken during the respiration, and carbon dioxide is given out. And carbon dioxide is also used by the plants. It's for process of photosynthesis, and this usually occurs during the daytime. We can see in some other organisms, in the case of fishes, the air passes through the nostril, and the gills is the portion where the exchange of the gases occurs. In the case of frogs, you can see that because the frogs, the life cycle, the process called metamorphosis, so there are 2 stages are there. In the tadpole, the respiration occurs by gills, and then in the case of adult frog, the lungs plays a very prominent role. Other than that, even skin and buccal cavity is also involved. That this all you learn in the higher classes. Now, in the case of human body, in our body, if you see, this is the passage. The air is passing through the nasal passage and enters to the larynx. From there to the trachea. The trachea, as you see that, it is called as the windpipe. Okay, my dear, it is called as the windpipe. And from there, it enters into the bronchi. Bronchi further subdivided into small filament-like structures, that is called as bronchioles. And bronchioles finally end up with air sac-like structures called as alveoli. And alveoli is a place which is connected with the blood vessels, and this is the portion where both the oxygen and carbon dioxide are getting exchanged, and the molecule that is plays an important role in transport of these gases to different parts of our body is said to be hemoglobin. And where this hemoglobin is present, that's present in RBC. It's one of the blood component. It is one of the blood component seen in the blood. That's called as RBCs. Right, clear? And this hemoglobin, that's why the color of the blood is red in color, because of this pigment also. That's called also red pigment. So if all these things, you please place all these things, post your comments, right? When you watch the videos, please post your comments, and also the doubts and queries you can kindly post in the comment section. Okay, anything? It's very nice. Be safe, stay healthy. Bye, children.